afternoon, all. Very happy to see all the faces here for the last 2 days. Some of us are joining you again. Dr. Caussy is joining you again. First of all, I think I need to thank the Honorable Member of Parliament, Kartikeya Sharma, for getting us all together at this forum next and to talk about what technology can do, literally as wonders as we shake up and wake up to the new levels of accelerated growth and development, which is critical to the world. I know there's wars and peace and talk of everything going on, but what do we need to do within those countries to achieve inclusive socio-economic impact development? That's why we are here today. I'm very happy to be joined by Dr. Ramesh Caussy. You've already been introduced by the MC, so I wouldn't repeat that again. And to have another friend of mine who I motivated to stay back for this conference, and she's very excited to have been a part of it, Miss Ajaita Shah. She is the founder, CEO of Frontier Networks. So let me tell you in short, I mean, as a journalist would, I am, that Frontier Networks has done something incredible at the very bottom of the pyramid, last mile, to cause and accelerate rural development. I'll let Ajaita talk about it, but she has championed creating 40,000, now that's not a small number, 40,000 rural women entrepreneurs in different parts of India that today at an average make livelihood, monthly livelihood, of anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 rupees a month. So just multiply 40,000 by 5 to 10,000 rupees a month, and that's the stimulus to economy Ajaita has given at that level. So Ajaita, talk a little bit about what Frontier Markets has created in terms of your Sahelis, the very special Sahelis on the ground, and how do you see that fitting into the larger, bigger picture of rural development of India? And then we'll come to Dr. Caussy.
Sure. So first of all, thank you so much for inviting me here on this stage and also making me stay back, because it has been a really informative, I would say, 3 days to really learn about some of the critical topics that all of us do need to discuss while we're here, and really honored to get a chance to talk about this topic, because you can imagine it's my favorite. Just for everyone, I think it's important to get the context of what I see rural development as. So in India, we're talking about 700,000 villages. We're talking about 800 million people, and we're talking about 100 million rural women. So these numbers are pretty large, and what we see is a gap of access. So the 800 million people that live in these rural villages today are not getting access to products and services where they live, at their doorstep. They have to travel 5, 10, 20, 30 kilometers to get even basic things like digital banking services, or get access to agricultural goods, or even get consumer durables. They're not an Amazon customer, let's be very clear. And the fact of the matter is that within that access gap, there's 100 million women today who are part of the National Rural Livelihood Mission, and are women that are eager to earn income and change the way that they can actually impact the lives of their children. Earn real money. So what Frontier Markets did was we said, well, let's address both of these challenges. Can we build women entrepreneurs that are using digital innovation, digital technology called the Meri Saheli app, that enables her to become a multi-product service provider in her villages, providing services to where people live. So 5 million families today have been able to access over 200 million products and services at their doorstep where they live. And these women, of course, now are not only earning money, but they are the digital transformation solution providers in their villages, helping bridge that access.
So where do you see this going on scale for India? Because without scale, you will not achieve, across the board rural development.
I think India is, if you don't scale in India, I don't know where you would scale in the world, right? And I think that, we believe that the model that we've built has been in partnership with the government, and the government has acknowledged that the She Leads Bharat movement should be nationally scaled. So our vision is to create 1 million of these women entrepreneurs who will then be able to be the voice of 100 million families, again, all on technology and driving services to the last mile in the country.
Well, thank you, Ajaita. Now that's where, Dr. Caussy, you come in. In the last 2 days, we are talking about using this platform, this very beautiful Next Summit, to talk about what is next in the process of our daily evolution, in making life and lifestyles better for humankind. I'm not going to be scared about AI versus humans. I am not. I don't think anybody should be. But how do you, what needs to be done as we scale? What kind of technology and specifically AI can do to enable what we are talking about, accelerated rural development, and most importantly, inclusive socio-economic impact development?
Okay. No, it is a very interesting and important question. And again, you know, as I said yesterday, the question of sovereignty is extremely important. This is critical. It is very important to understand that today India is generating 1/5 of the data of the world. But how much, what is the percentage of this data that India is controlling? Not a lot. And applied to rural segment, what is the percentage of rural data that India own, manage, control? This is a big issue because if we are not moving faster on the sovereignty subject for rural activities, all the data will be controlled by externals, company, and they will lock an asset that belongs to India. So on that part, it is extremely important to understand that, as Ajaita says it, the access gap is worse, depends on the matter, a big question. But the infrastructure part at the rural level is even more important. Why? Because if we don't position what I call the rural data stack for India, we won't be able to extract the value from the data for the benefits of India and for the women's entrepreneur, for example, because they need to be involved in this part. And to close with your huge question, also the AI part for rural sovereignty in terms of LLM is extremely important. It's about not just 5, 10 languages, it's about 4 more, but it's also the production of tokens that have to be integrated into the system. So yes, rural world is extremely important to India's. As the numbers were given, they are huge. Rural activities can be a major contributor to GDP. And to, in one sentence, to formulate that, Indian data sovereignty starts in the village. And this is the appropriate level to start thinking data, rural data stack.
So my question to you, I mean, let me repeat something that I want to get out of this conversation is, you know, AI, it's here. There's no, 5 years, 10 years. I want to use AI today to empower rural women, grow the number of women, create socio-economic impact development. How fast can it be done, and how will you do it?
It can be done within a few months. Why? Because the AI, the technology stack exists at the application level, at the infrastructure level, at what I call the level of management and centralization, and also in the kind of, at the level where we need to check the information. So to say it in simple words, whatever the level of stack that I apply to what the global AI solution, technology are ready to be deployed, but we must do the right thing to make sure that the value is extracted for the beneficial of India, of the players, the stakeholders, but also at the local level, the ground level, to the women, to the people, to the rural world. So this is why I'm saying it is important to build the rural data stack.
Just quickly, and then I'll come back to you, Ajaita. Dr. Caussy, it's easier said than done, but what will it take to do it? Can she do it with her 40 while she's expanding to 1 million? Or would you need the government's involvement, the state's involvement to do it?
Of course, it is a game where the government, where the ecosystem will have a huge play to play. Because on the first step, there will be a framework to position, a strategic framework to build this rural data stack. It needs to be made by the government. And then it will involve several players of the ecosystem at different level: platform, application, security, data science, data mining, but also players that are in the regulation part. And finally, entrepreneurs and local technologies and the people in the rural domain. So it is a game for the whole ecosystem, but it's just a question about coordination, right vision, right framework, because the technology is there. Let's make that happen.
Ajaita, turning back to you, I've at this summit and even in previous sessions heard how people can be scared about AI. Now you deal with 40,000 literally probably not so literate or maybe not literate at all women, but they've become entrepreneurs. They've adapted to digital technology, as you said. They're actually making a livelihood out of it. So what all would you need to integrate? First of all, are your Sahelis on the ground going to be scared about AI?
I don't know if I'm scared about AI, so I don't know about the Sahelis yet. No, I think, so a couple of things. I just wanted to kind of maybe reflect also on, Ramesh, what you just said, because I do think it's very important to think through that it's technology, but it's also ecosystem. And so even today, with the work that we've done, we work with the state level rural livelihood missions. We work with almost 210 plus social innovators that have technology integrated into the technology platform that we have. The platform itself was designed by these rural women. So before they even think about AI, they first had to embrace technology in itself, right? Using a smartphone differently, beyond WhatsApp, beyond a YouTube, really understanding tech. It's vernacular. There's an AI voice bot because she doesn't know necessarily how to read, but she does know how to listen. But imagine every single element of that was designed with her. And I think that's really where the power comes in. So now if you bring that to the context of AI, it's about also understanding how you explain what AI is to her. And my favorite story is the one where we did do this, session with about 500 of our rural women entrepreneurs across different parts of the country, right? Who basically said the same thing, which is really powerful when you think about it. They said, could AI help me earn money faster? Could I wake up in the morning and open Savitri Didi, right? Who basically says, good morning, Ajaita.
So
Here
Savitri
are
Didi
is the AI, it's the Alexa version of what I envision. But imagine they're saying, Savitri Didi is going, good morning, Ajaita. Here are the 13 ways that you can earn money in the next 5 hours, given what we know about who your customers are, what they've been purchasing, or what kind of work activities are available in that day at that time. She gets that. And they all were like, if that's what AI can do, sign me up, right? A second use case, which I, again, really appreciated, is a lot of our women have been doing digital banking services, right, across the country. Now, for most people, if you don't know, when a woman is a digital banking correspondent, she gets a reputation of being trustworthy and not committing fraud. So what happens is other villages in that same area are saying, I want to get my banking services done by her. So all of a sudden, she now goes from one village to traveling to many. Google Maps won't help her figure out the right pathway that she should be taking for safety to get to those other villages. And that's another use case that we're realizing could be really powerful. I think that I don't think there's a fear of AI. There's an understanding of efficiency and opportunity with AI. And I also believe that the gap here is going to be on the skilling of her understanding this. So we have to build with her, for her, and essentially make the use cases more relevant to her.
So would it be fair to say, which I heard in the session before us, that your Sahelis will become super Sahelis for their neighborhood?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they are becoming super Sahelis, right? They really are delivering services to people faster. They are the voices of rural families. And so, going back to the rural data stack, like, can you imagine 100 million families or 700 million people's wishes, needs, challenges, aspirations, satisfaction, opinions are getting captured by these women because they are trusted? And that data stack is allowing you to then suddenly design with innovation. We, for example, and again, I think that there's a lot more that we can do so I can do this better, but even with our 40,000 women today, we worked with 1,000 of them to introduce India's first ever climate insurance product for 10,000 small women farmers who own less than 0.5 acres of land, because it was designed with them for them, and we were able to bring a community together. So I see the use cases that are really exciting, and I also think that there's still a responsibility that we then need to understand in terms of ownership.
So what would be the challenges, Dr. Caussy, starting from scratch with frontier markets, for example, with the 40,000 ladies? Where would you start?
First of all, I'm very excited to have this starting this cooperation with Ajaita and frontier markets, because there is a huge opportunity for us, to build this sovereignty at the village level, at the block level, what I call this rural data stack. And by bringing sovereignty to the person, to the village, we'll create for them a business opportunity to make money, to be a great contributor to the GDP, huge part of the potential, but also will give the autonomy of technology and the autonomy to develop the right use cases. Because this is a growing field, people will love to use it, and progressively there will be living interaction to get more for the platform from frontier market, for example. But there is also the opportunity to apply, this model at a global level. And I have to say even more, because, India is an example for stack for payment, UPI is an example stack for information. And if we build the missing stack, the data sovereign stack, at this scale, then we can replicate that, for example, in Africa. Because you see, what we are learning here in India would be very useful to other parts of the world. So we are all very excited on having a concrete impact or doing things that can change the life of people in the village, of the women, of people who have families, and find with AI, infrastructure, data, an amazing opportunity for real.
Well, thank you very much. This is a very interesting conversation, and you're right, Dr. Caussy. We've seen in the past that technology-led innovations that have served India are a good, not just a demonstrator, but literally can be replicated in other global south countries. So this would be something that literally every country in the global south needs, and if it works for India, if we can make it happen, then naturally it'll have a manifold impact.
One thing I'll just add to that is also that in most of the conversations that I've heard over the last 3 days, we're forgetting that women make up 51% of the entire population of this country, and there is a big digital divide that needs to be addressed. There's a systemic barrier that needs to be addressed, but if we do it with the intentionality of working with these women, please understand that's the game-changing outcome of what we know. Because when you invest in women, right, it's a multitude of impact that gets created, right? She doesn't just invest in herself, she invests in her children, she invests in the future of the country. So that's why we say when she leads Bharat, India thrives. And so now imagine with AI and technology, if we invest in her ability to become that super Saheli, I would say dhamaka will happen, right? It's going to be a beautiful outcome, and we should be getting ready for it.
I'm glad you brought it up, Ajaita, because I would have wanted you to bring it up, that including women, particularly rural women, is very important and integral to any development, particularly socio-economic impact development. And I think coming to that question of which is asked all the time, that what do people think of AI? Is it going to take over humans? Is it scary? You know, if AI integration is done with these women at the bottom of the pyramid and shows how it changes life and lifestyles, no kids of tomorrow, even coming from villages, would ever be scared of AI. Rather, they would love the integration of AI into their lives, into their styles, into how better it makes their lives. Any last comments?
It's not just a comment, but again, I repeat, Indian data sovereignty starts with the village. And this is something very stimulating that AI, people will love it because it will change their life, but also bring them more opportunities and revenue. We have to make that happen, and we must start with this framework for India, for the nation.
Well, thank you. Thank you both very much. We can go on talking forever, but I know there's a limitation to time. I also want to tell the audience, ladies and gentlemen, and young folks here, that it so interestingly happens that all three of us are Indian diaspora. Ajaita was born in New York, but decided to give up her life here and come and do transformational changes and grassroots level work in India. Dr. Ramesh Caussy is from Mauritius, 6th generation, moved to France and is here to be a part of the AI revolution, which I think India can lead. And I grew up in Delhi, but now live between Los Angeles and here. And it's wonderful to be here and look at all these, hear people talk about how and what next. Thank you very much.
Thank you.